So Jess, thanks for joining me this morning on our little journey of personal interviews and just to get to know you a little bit better. So thanks for your time this morning. I gather things are pretty busy right now in construction. So
they definitely are, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, so why don't you give us a little bit of your journey to where you ended up as some might not know, you're HR Director Manager at Boxstall Construction. So how did you end up there?
So I started in human resources about 10 years ago now. I originally started in hospitality. So I worked in hospitality for a couple of years as an HR assistant and moved up to an HR coordinator in pretty quick order. From there, a lot of people's journey is like they go right into construction, right? They're like engineers or CETs. Mine's obviously a little bit different being in HR. So I am the HR manager with Boxstall for the last 5 years. From hospitality, I went to aviation. Did that for a couple of years. So obviously there's a lot of strict regulations with regards to safety in aviation, definitely different, following Transport Canada rules, those types of things. So I worked there for a few years prior to coming here back in June 2015. Came over here as a senior generalist and shortly after was promoted to the HR manager. So that was kind of my path and my journey. My schooling type background is I took business admin at Red River originally, and then kind of always liked HR and got a taste for it while I was working in retail management prior to, back in my 18-year-old life, retail management, and I really liked the recruitment aspect and dealing with people and kind of training and those types of things. So that was kind of my journey originally to HR.
Okay, so you've obviously experienced a few different sort of sectors of our society. Would you say that construction faces some unique challenges when it comes to HR issues or recruitment or whatever?
I think every environment kind of could have different, I don't know if it's issues per se, but different areas that maybe you need to focus on with regards to that. I feel that working in construction, you deal a lot with skilled trades. And so you have people who really want, you're potentially helping them start their career in construction. So we hire carpenters. So we're potentially having someone start their career with us. So as I've mentioned, being here 5 years, so I finally seen someone go from start to finish. They started with us as labor, they moved into apprenticeship, and now they are a red steel carpenter. So that's really rewarding in that sense. But it's also when you are doing recruitment and those types of things in construction, you really need to be able to pivot your style with regards to your recruitment, because you may be hiring someone as a general laborer who doesn't have a lot of experience, or you may be hiring a superintendent, or you may be hiring an office position, an engineer or something like that as a project manager. So I feel like the diversity piece is really exciting in construction, because we're able to have people start with us who are new Canadians that maybe have experience in their home countries, or people here that are from here and then they have different experiences there. So I think that it's nice to be part of something that's really equitable and really, you can get a wide variety of people with different backgrounds working and getting them working cohesively.
So what would be maybe 2 or 3 very specific steps companies should look at in order to make their overall employee base more diverse? Boxstall has lots of diversity, both in gender and in ethnic background. What could other companies do to really increase that?
So for me, it's something that I'm really passionate about, and it also comes from from John Boxstall down here, is something that's important to him. So I think it's making sure that you have buy-in at all level with regards to what you want to do for your diversity potential plan. Maybe put a plan in place, put an equity policy in place, so in that way, you know where you're at all the time. So it's not a surprise if you're not diverse, or it's not a surprise if you are diverse, like having kind of statistics and those types of things that need to happen. And I just think, respecting and understanding everyone's different backgrounds and what their perspectives are going to be and where they're coming from, and just really respecting that. And, in all your communications that you're having, making sure that you're catering to all the various different backgrounds that people have. But I really think it's a leadership down commitment that needs to be made at an organization.
Okay, great. So when it comes to women in construction, MWC has played a role in the last, let's say, 6 years. Do you think that has helped our industry? And if so, how? And if not, why not?
I think it definitely has. So I came on the board, I think I'll be coming up to 4 years in January. So prior to that, I didn't know a lot about MWC. I know Boxtel supported it. We've been a platinum sponsor for a really long time, based on my understanding. And then when I was asked to join the board, it just kind of got my eyes a little bit more wide open, like learning about not just like a general contractor, right? Because that's my world with regards to work. So I was able, to get more involved with regards to maybe different sub-trades that have women that work there, various different areas, getting trades involved, and really the networking aspect of it. So I definitely think MWC has helped. I mean, I think we can always grow and progress and, bring different perspectives and bring new things in. But I think it's been really helpful. And even when I'm interviewing someone, specifically a woman, if they're even if I don't hire them, it's all MWC is always something I mention, like, hey, like, you may not know that these supports are available to you, and it could be something that could help you with regards to networking or building your career, or just like learning different perspectives or meeting like-minded people like them.
Yeah, awesome. So if you could look back at your 17-year-old self, what piece of advice would you give yourself at that point?
So I know for me now, and when I was 17, trades would have never been an option for me. It's just not me. If you know me, then that makes total sense. But I would say, I had friends. I have a friend who's a Red Seal plumber. Back then, she worked in retail. She did this, she did that. I feel like women, especially at that age, like knowing that you could say like, hey, the trades can be for you, those types of things is really important. Or like, if you want to be an engineer, you can do it, those types of things. I think, maybe I would talk more to my friends about that, because I find that the women that do go into the trades, a lot of times they get involved when they're 28, 29, 30. They're a little further on into their careers than the guys that I meet. They're like, yeah, I graduated school in June and I'm meeting them in January because they went and did their pre-employment and they know that it's an option for them. I think that's changing. But I would say, back my 17-year-old self, that would have been an option to maybe make sure that, you're maybe more so open to it. Like I did woodworking shops, those types of things. I built a pig cutting board. It never was going to be for me, but I think that there was a lot of people that maybe the schools could have, brought up a little bit further with regards to it, to make sure that they knew what the options for that were available to them.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to switch tracks a little bit and go to a little bit of a less formal type of question. And just a sort of series of questions to get to know who you are a little bit more internally. So, big question in construction, coffee drinker or tea drinker?
I'm actually neither. I don't like coffee, and there's like one tea that I like, which I'll drink like 3 times a year when I have a cold, but I'm more of a water, or like maybe like iced tea, those types of things. I'm neither.
Okay.
But a lot of coffee drinkers in my office, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, cats versus dogs?
I like both. I happen to have 2 cats, but in a non-COVID world, I travel a fair bit, so I feel like it's a lot easier on them for someone to come check in on them versus, leaving a dog for a long period of time.
Okay. So I know that you've traveled quite extensively, actually. So best vacation ever?
It's funny, I was actually thinking, my husband and I were talking about this last night, because we were supposed to go to Europe this coming fall, which obviously isn't happening at this point. I've traveled fairly extensively. It would be, I kind of have my top 3, which I'm going to go with. So I traveled to Australia just short of 2 years ago, to a few different places there. Their lifestyle, their culture, the activity levels, just like the people, was fantastic. So Brisbane was my favorite city in Australia. We went to a few. I also really enjoy a 1-week kind of Mexico vacation every winter. Mine Riviera would be my favorite spot for that, but that is really my unplug and just not really worry about anything other than, am I going to finish this book, and like, where are we going to go walk on the beach to next? And I also really like London. Was a really fabulous city that I went to. But I've traveled to lots of different places, and all of them have their own perks and benefits for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so while you're in the Mayan Riviera, sitting by the pool, it's 30 degrees. What kind of drink is in your hands?
Really depends on what time of day. I'm not really into anything super sweet, but I'm more of a, I make my own little concoctions there because I find everything super sugary and sweet, but I usually just do like a soda water, vodka, a little bit of like fresh lime juice, something like that, some fruit, something like that.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. Water, we got to stay hydrated too, so go back and forth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, and you did mention maybe pick up a book. So if you have some spare time, would you pick up a book or would you watch TV?
It depends. So if I get in like a mindset and I'm like reading a book, I like have to like read it and I just keep reading it until it's finished. I found with this like COVID thing, so I said I went to Mexico a little earlier this year, came back, got on a 14-day quarantine after that. So I was really sick of watching TV. I don't find there's a lot on TV at this point. So I think it really depends. When I'm in Mexico, it's stuff like I don't turn the TV on ever, not really even checking social media, those types of things. It truly is my like unplug and just recharge so that way I can come back and be successful personally and in the workplace. But yeah, I'm a bit of both if I'm being honest. There's not really much on TV anymore, so I feel like I'm reading more, trying to sit outside as long as the mosquitoes aren't getting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm kind of wrapping up each interview with the same question. Given the whole COVID situation, and you've just indicated that you actually had to self-isolate for 14 days. What did you learn about yourself through all of that?
I learned that, it's a good question. I learned that you can actually do it if you need to. Like some people I know, if you read the news, people are still like going out when you're having to self-isolate. I kind of had to do it on 2 periods, so I did have to get tested at one point just as a precautionary thing, so I had a short little quarantine there. But you can really, like, I don't know, I felt like my husband and I, we like cleaned out our cupboards. It was just like, you know, we have way more food than we ever thought we did. So you're able to like do more with what you have and, you know, take the time to, you know, clean your closets and like declutter and kind of just like declutter your life. I felt that to be kind of a really rewarding part of quarantine. But I also think that you can kind of connect with yourself and like, you know, if you're able to put a few different safeguards in place. So if you normally do yoga and you go to a studio for it, like try to do that at home. Just find the things that are going to keep you kind of even keel, because that's, in my opinion, through this whole process, is the even keelness of all of this has been the only thing that's kind of kept me sane. So, you know, you were still allowed to go out for a walk, so make sure you do a walk a couple times a day, so then that way you're still getting your vitamin D and getting outside and seeing the sunshine and those types of things. But I think it just speaks to the fact that you can do it, especially if you need to do it, you should do it. You know, we have a good province here. Once you're maybe not on quarantine, like explore the place that you live versus other places that you would normally go.
Great. Well, thank you, Jess, very much. I appreciated the time to get to know you, and we'll be releasing these slowly over the summer.
Okay, thanks. Have a good day, all.
You too.